it also leads to some like really inexplicable actions. Like we're talking about Sam Bankman-Fried and all this, and I think it was the Future Fund recently had one of their publications revealed where they talked about potentially buying a small island nation in order to survive. Yeah, in order to survive some of these existential risks, and buying an island to form your own effective altruism nation is insane cult shit. 2, if you're worried about the future and how it's going to be in 100,000 whatever years, why the fuck are you buying a small island nation when sea levels are rising? They become so focused on their pet issues, they lose the ability to actually assess other things.
Yeah, I want to actually just, for anyone who's unfamiliar with Nauru, Nauru is a phosphate rock island with rich deposits near the surface, which allowed easy strip mining operations for over a century. However, this has seriously harmed the country's environment, causing the island nation to suffer from what is often referred to as the resource curse. The phosphate was exhausted in the 1990s, and the remaining reserves are not economically viable for extraction. So I urge people, honestly, to look up pictures of Nauru and just see. It's just a rock it's what I just described. It's a rock that's been completely mined. So it's just holes everywhere where they've strip mined all of this phosphate out of it. It's tiny as hell. It has very little water. It's obviously, as you said, whether you believe in climate change or not, the ocean is rising. So it's going to possibly disappear. You're going to have to pour resources in this place just to keep it around. But you're also going to have to pour resources in. Where are you going to get water? What do you I don't understand why you would pick this place of all the places in the world to set up shop. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I can tell you the reason. Because they thought they were vulnerable, right? Like this nation first got their independence in 1968, finally separating themselves from the colonial powers who had basically stripped away most of the resources from the island. Over the next 25 years, before all the phosphate was no longer economically viable, they tried to save up enough in trust to kind of keep the nation solvent once these resources were gone. But that trust is being depleted now, and their role increasingly has become kind of like an offshore financial haven, a center for money laundering and tax evasion and things like that.
And a prison.
Yeah.
They're literally a detention center.
And so the reason they picked this island is because they thought it would be vulnerable to their type of pitch.
Yeah, that the people are desperate.
Yeah,
I mean, there's really no other way to put it.
All their resources extracted from them by colonial powers, and we can roll up with billions of dollars, and they'll want us because we have the money they don't have.
And who can blame? You don't want to blame the Nauruans for this. They've been kind of screwed over for a very long time. I guess if I was running out of money in a trust fund that was my only source of GDP, then I might accept some crazy offer from some billionaires too. I don't know. It's just kind of gross that that's what the billionaires and EA people decided, right?
The idea of taking over governments is one that pops up in this community sometimes as well. And sometimes it'll be as explicit as saying we're going to buy an island. But even when they say that, sometimes what they mean is we're going to arrive in this place where most people don't have very much money. And we're going to have so much money that we so quickly accumulate influence and power. It's like we bought it, right? And this is kind of... Leverage Research is another group that is broadly connected to the effective altruism and rationality movements. And members have reported that their stated mission was to change the world or take over the US government using their philosophy by helping their members become these uniquely powerful achievers, uniquely good at achieving things. And by doing that, they would eventually elevate themselves all to positions of powers and be able to advance their own philosophy. There's a lot of echoes of that here with what Sam Bankman-Fried's Future Fund was planning. There's this kind of idea, and it reminds me a bit of Balaji's network state, of we are so powerful that we're so rich that we are powerful enough to force these small nations into serving our whims.